Truth is making a comeback. America's Top Stories with Lisa K. Donner.
One of the most popular articles on LibertyNation.com week in and week out is Tim Donner's article entitled Say What? When it comes to wacky assertions and odd comments, the Dems never really disappoint. Recently, the Democratic candidates took to the stage for another 3-hour epic debate. Tim cometh with highlights, along with a few head-sewn to the carpet moments by Biden the elder and Biden the younger. Washington political columnist and my better half for 34 years, Tim Donner joins me now with all of this and more. Hi, Tim.
Hello, Lisa. Good to be with you.
All right, so the bullseye was squarely placed on Massachusetts Senator Warren during the debate. Her compadres kept pounding her about raising taxes, to which she demurred.
Well, it's true. It was pretty obvious that Elizabeth Warren would be the new target because she's the new front runner, really. You look at the odds makers and you even look at the polls, and she has pulled even or even ahead of Joe Biden, who's collapsing, of course. And so she became the obvious target for the other candidates, particularly when it came to her multi-trillion dollar, $30 trillion, whatever it is, Medicare for all. So let's listen to her being questioned about a key element of the program and then being criticized by Mayor Pete.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it, yes or no?
So I have made clear what my principles are here, and that is costs will go up for the wealthy and for big corporations, and for hardworking middle-class families, costs will go down.
Well, we heard it tonight, a yes or no question that didn't get a yes or no answer. And I don't understand why you believe the only way to deliver affordable coverage to everybody is to obliterate private plans.
Well, you know, right there you could see what an easy target she can become when she basically wants to overturn the entire healthcare system of the country. Lisa, you and I watched a lot of this debate together. I found it particularly amusing that she would cut taxes for hardworking families, begging the question, what about lazy middle-class families? Do they get the same tax break?
Yeah, it's funny you said that because she almost sounded like an automaton. She kept saying hardworking middle class, hardworking middle class.
And for hardworking middle-class families,
you know, I'm not saying that the middle class isn't hardworking, but it just sounded a little canned to me. Anyway, let's move on quickly. Hunter Biden's interview on ABC.
Well, he had to come clean, and I will say this, as much as we criticize the elite media, this was a probing interview by ABC. They asked all the questions you would want to ask about how Hunter Biden profited to the tune of millions, perhaps billions, we don't know, of dollars from his father's position as vice president, cashing in on massive deals right after his father had visited the countries that granted Hunter the deals. So eventually you knew this would come out. We covered this on LibertyNation.com 6 months ago. We knew this was coming, but the mainstream media had to be shamed into covering it by President Trump. And now the whole thing has exploded. So let's listen to some of the questions, the obvious questions that needed to be answered that were asked on ABC.
Did you and your father ever discuss Ukraine?
No, there's no but to this. No, nobody buys this idea that I was unqualified to be on the board.
What were your qualifications to be on the board of Burisma?
Well, I was vice chairman of the board of Amtrak for 5 years. I was the chairman of the board of the UN World Food Program. I was a lawyer for Boies Schiller Flexner, one of the most prestigious law firms in the world.
You didn't have any extensive knowledge about natural gas or Ukraine itself, though?
No, but I think that I had as much knowledge as anybody else that was on the board.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden. Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah. But did I make a mistake based upon some unethical lapse? Absolutely not.
Well, at least what the mainstream media or elite media or establishment media has tried to do is to define the terms of this debate about Biden and Ukraine on whether any laws were broken, on whether there was any criminality, when in fact the story here is another typical swamp deal where a connected person gets untold, ill-gotten gains at the expense of the taxpayer, basically with the vice president setting up deals or turning the other way as his son made deals. That's the issue here, not whether any laws were actually broken.
Yeah, wow, she really did go after him. That was a very probing, and he sounded like he was trying to come straight at it too.
I thought it was good that he said at the end, look, there's a lot of things that wouldn't have happened to me if my name wasn't Biden. I think it was important for him to say that. I don't think that, they'll keep picking on Hunter that much. Most likely the focus will now be on Biden, as it was during the debate.
Yeah, so Joe the senior, I don't think he came out quite as well as Biden the junior.
Well, he was asked about this not nearly as pointedly in the debate, and notice how he dodges the question and tries to move on to how, of course, it's all about Trump.
If it's not okay for a president's family to be involved in foreign businesses, why was it okay for your son when you were vice president? Vice President Biden?
Look, my son did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
Your son, Hunter, today gave an interview, admitted that he made a mistake and showed poor judgment by serving on that board in Ukraine. Did you make a mistake by letting him? You were the point person on Ukraine at the time, if you can answer.
Look, my son's statement speaks for itself. My son made a judgment. I'm proud of the judgment he made. I'm proud of what he had to say. And let's focus on this. The fact of the matter is that this is about Trump's corruption. One of the reasons I am running is because of my age and my experience. With it comes wisdom.
So that last part about wisdom was admittedly later in the debate, but what kind of wisdom does it show to allow your son to make deals feeding at the public trough in an era of populism where this is exactly the kind of thing that so sickened the American people that they were willing to roll the dice on a joker in the deck like Donald Trump to try and drain the swamp?
Well, he kept saying there were no laws broken. He did nothing wrong. I believe Shakespeare had something to say about that. Doth he protesteth too much?
Well, you could also use that these candidates, all 12 of them in the debate, were strutting and fretting their hour upon the stage, telling a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Yeah, that's William Shakespeare.
Joe Biden's campaign right now is sinking like a rock. I think he knows it. Everybody knows it. And in this debate, the focus was more on Elizabeth Warren because she is now considered really the odds-on favorite. It's hers to lose now. Let's see how she can consolidate her lead and act as a front-running campaign.
Good point. Thank you so much. Washington political columnist for LibertyNation.com and host of Liberty Nation Radio. Make sure you check it out. Thanks, Tim.
You're very welcome, Lisa.
Truth is making a comeback. Visit us at LibertyNation.com.